Alright, buckle up, Buttercup, cause this is the story of how the galaxy's biggest, baddest empire got schooled by, wait for it, Earth pets. Yeah, you heard right. Pets. It all started with the Zix'K Empire, see. Bunch of alien eggheads with a major superiority complex and a hard-on for biological warfare. They spent centuries cooking up what they called the ultimate combat organisms. These weren't your run-of-the-mill space critters, nuh-uh. We're talking genetically juiced-up monsters that made Xenomorphs look like fluffy kittens. Their invasion fleet shows up at our outer colonies, subtle as a freaking supernova at a yoga retreat. Massive carrier ships, each crammed with thousands of these war beasties, dropping out of the crimson skies of New Montana. The Zix'K, being the drama queens they were, decided to broadcast their ultimatum across every frequency. Behold, primitive species, they boomed, the fruits of superior evolution. Then they flashed their pride and joy on screen, these 12-foot-tall behemoths with crystal exoskeletons, drool that could melt steel, and enough teeth to make a shark feel inadequate. 6 legs, bone blades that popped out like switchblades, and eyes that saw in colors that would make a physics professor weep. Now, our colonial defense forces. They got this transmission and reacted with what you might call enthusiasm. I'm talking the commanding officer actually asked them to rewind and play it again, said it was too good not to record. First wave of war beasts hit the ground, and let me tell ya, they lived up to the hype. Tore through steel like tissue paper, scaled buildings like it was nothing, and coordinated their attacks with scary precision. The Zix'K commanders were all smug, watching their creations tear through the colonial capital. But then, something weird happened. Instead of panicking, the humans started evacuating, like, super efficiently. No terror, no chaos, just, getting out of Dodge. And they were talking. Zix'K Intel picked up comms chatter with phrases like time to let the dogs out and who's got the treats. Their linguists were scratching their heads. Military codes? Nah, sounded more like pet talk. When those war beasts got close to the main colonial complex, bam. Resistance. Zix'K commanders leaned in, expecting desperate humans with pea shooters. Instead, the colony gates swung open, revealing a freakin' welcome wagon. Front line? Furry quadrupeds. Big ones, muscular ones with thick necks and jaws that could crush a car. Sleek, wolf-like ones with smart eyes. And behind them, smaller, zippier critters humans called cats. The Zix'K actually laughed. Local fauna, right? Probably domesticated for company. What kinda threat could pets be to genetically engineered killing machines? That's when the first war beast charged. And ran smack dab into a Caucasian shepherd dog. The collision? Military textbooks later called it the moment the Zix'K realized they brought a butter knife to a fuzzy gunfight. This shepherd dog, bred for centuries to tangle with wolves and bears, didn't just hold its ground. It sent that war beast tumbling backwards with a mix of raw power and fightin' smarts no lab could ever whip up. And that was just the opening act. More war beasts poured in, and they found themselves facing a freakin' zoo of Earth's domesticated defenders. German shepherds pulling off tactical maneuvers that'd make special forces jealous. Siberian huskies showing why they were born to outrun and outlast anything in a frozen wasteland. And cats? Well, cats just did whatever the heck they wanted, which somehow turned out to be the most effective strategy of all. Zix'K commanders watched in horror as their supreme creations got systematically outmaneuvered, outfought, and sometimes just plain embarrassed by creatures humans kept as companions. One highlight reel moment? A Maine Coon cat casually knocking a plasma rifle off a high platform, right onto a war beast's head, then going back to grooming itself. Security footage of that went viral across the galaxy. By the end of day one, the Zix'K were choking on an uncomfortable truth: their war beasts, galaxy's finest genetic engineering, were getting their butts handed to them by animals humans bred to be their friends. And the kicker? Humans hadn't even played their whole hand yet. Intel reports whispered about something called a honey badger waiting in the wings. Just the mention of it gave human troops the jitters. Zix'K High Command called an emergency powwow. Top scientists pored over combat footage, trying to figure out how their perfect predators were losing to creatures that spent most of their time begging for belly rubs. They just couldn't grasp it. They'd made killing machines. Humans. Humans had done something way more impressive: they'd turned the planet's top predators into family. Night fell on New Montana, and for the first time in their engineered lives, the Zix'K war beasts knew fear. In the dark, they could hear it: the barking, the growling, and the most bone-chilling sound of all, purring. Day one was done, and the Zix'K were starting to think they'd made a real bad mistake. Little did they know, their education in Earth's domesticated defenders was just getting started. Dawn broke, and the Zix'K commanders were getting reports that were just plain bizarre. Their war beasts, the pinnacle of aggressive evolution, were developing what their behavior analysts called an inferiority complex. Yeah, you heard that right. Inferiority complex. The psychological damage of getting schooled by creatures that chase their own tails for fun was wreaking havoc on their engineered morale. One report detailed a squad of war beasts cornering what looked like a stumpy-legged critter with floppy ears. War beasts moved in for the kill, only to get completely outmaneuvered by something humans called a corgi. This short-legged commander proceeded to herd the whole squad into a defensive position, barking out what could only be tactical instructions to nearby human forces. The precision of this tiny commander had Zix'K tactical experts questioning everything they thought they knew about combat effectiveness. Human response to this masterclass in military strategy? Call it a good boy and offer it a treat. This casual dismissal of what the Zix'K considered a major engagement just fueled their confusion about human warfare. The Zix'K military strategists were losing their minds trying to figure out how creatures that chased balls and napped in sunbeams could be such effective combatants. Their confusion went into overdrive when they intercepted messages about deploying the farm division. Farm animals in combat? Sounded so absurd, some analysts figured it had to be some kinda code. Nope. Turns out humans hadn't just domesticated predators, they'd weaponized, like, everything with a pulse. The farm division? Way more terrifying than anyone could have guessed. A battalion of war beasts found themselves eaten from what looked like woolly creatures with curved horns. Rams, they were called. And these rams had an enthusiasm for headbutting that made those bioengineered warriors rethink their life choices. Seeing their elite forces getting ragdolled by animals that usually ate grass and bleated at clouds. Tough pill for Zix'K High Command to swallow. Then came the horses. Zix'K had written them off as just transport units, until they saw a Clydesdale deliver what could only be described as a precision-guided kick to a war beast's face. Impact registered on local seismic monitors. Draft horses, bred for generations to haul heavy loads, had muscle power that made the war beast's enhanced strength look almost quaint. But maybe the most humiliating moment? When humans unleashed their avian division. War beasts, designed to be apex predators, found themselves getting dive-bombed by geese. Plain old geese. Sight of their fearsome creations running scared from honking birds? sent several Zix'K commanders to the medic. These geese, apparently unconcerned they were facing genetically engineered killing machines, attacked with the same territorial fury they usually reserved for protecting park ponds and harassing picnickers. Humans, meanwhile, seemed to be treating the whole invasion like a giant pet training exercise. Heard M making comments like, "Good practice for agility competitions," and, "This'll definitely help with obedience trials." Some were even documenting their pets' combat performance for upcoming dog shows, arguing that repelling an alien invasion should count for bonus points in special skills. One seriously crushing blow to Zix'K morale? Intercepted footage of a human kid giving a war beast a timeout for playing too rough with their border collie. The collie, for its part, had already reorganized local resistance into neat, efficient squads, transferring its herding instincts from sheep to soldiers. With remarkable success. The war beast, thoroughly chastised, actually sat in the designated timeout corner while the collie supervised, looking all professionally disappointed. Empire scientists were frantically analyzing these Earth critters, trying to understand their deal. They figured out that while their war beasts were built for max lethality, humans had spent millennia breeding animals for specific jobs, creating specialists that were freakishly good at what they did. This long-game genetic mod, while slower than Zix'K's fancy tech, was getting frustratingly effective results. Group of war beasts learned that the hard way trying to sneak into a storage facility. Thwarted by a team of beagles. Beagles, whose noses could sniff them out through 3 feet of concrete. Security footage showed the war beasts getting marched out single file, herded by what looked like a real authoritative Labrador or Retriever. Lab's tail wagging the whole time, just to add insult to injury. Zix'K attempts to adapt their strategy. Constantly undermined by the sheer versatility of Earth's domesticated defenders. Tried air attacks. Met by birds of prey humans had been falconry training for millennia. Aquatic units. Useless against dolphins, who seemed to think combat was a game, clicking happily as they dismantled underwater assault vehicles with disturbing efficiency. Maybe the most demoralizing discovery? Humans hadn't even bred most of these animals specifically for combat. These were creatures designed for companionship, work, entertainment, who just happened to be crazy effective warriors when push came to shove. Zix'K had built perfect weapons. Humans had built perfect partners. And that partnership was turning out to be an insurmountable advantage. Empire's psychological warfare division was having a meltdown. How do you intimidate an enemy whose battle buddies spend their downtime chasing laser pointers and begging for belly rubs? Terror tactics? Absurd against forces that included creatures you could distract with a well-thrown stick or a dangling piece of string. Day 2 of the invasion, Zix'K started picking up chatter about something called Phase 2. Intercepted comms mentioned releasing farm sanctuary animals and deploying special forces hamsters. Casual tone of these messages made them even more terrifying. Supreme Commander, already losing it, made the mistake of a skin for clarification on hamster. Briefing that followed, including footage of tiny, fuzzy critters stuffing their faces and running in wheels, left him deeply concerned about the military application of these things. They were about to find out humans had a gift for turning seemingly harmless creatures into surprisingly effective agents of chaos. Hamsters, turns out, were infiltration masters. Exceptional at jamming mechanical systems, causing critical failures with their natural talent for collecting shiny stuff and stashing food in the most inconvenient places imaginable. Several advanced Zix'K vehicles. Rendered inoperable by what maintenance crews could only call tactical hoarding. Sunset of Day 2, Zix'K Empire's mighty war beasts, product of countless resources and centuries of genetic engineering, getting systematically outmatched by creatures humans dressed in cute outfits and put on social media. Psychological impact? Morale crisis across the invasion force. Final insult. Surveillance footage of a war beast getting successfully commanded to sit by a chihuahua. Chihuahua, apparently, asserted such dominant energy that the engineered predator's deep-programmed hierarchical instincts just kicked in. Footage went viral with human forces, who started calling it the smallest drill sergeant in history. Night fell again. Zix'K High Command faced a brutal realization: they'd grossly underestimated not just humanity's military might, but their fundamental understanding of other species. Empire built perfect weapons. Humans. Perfect partners. And somehow, that made all the difference. Reports from the front lines. Desperate. Rumors spread about humans deploying something called emotional support peacocks. Nobody knew what that meant. Nobody wanted to find out. Once cocky invasion force? Learning a harsh lesson about the difference between making a weapon and fostering an ally. Day 3 of the invasion. Zix'K archives would later call it the Great Humbling. Started with what looked like a tactical retreat by human forces, pulling back from key positions round the colonial capital. Empire commanders, still clinging to their disintegrating superiority complex, figured it was a sign of victory. Dead wrong. So wrong. Humans weren't eaten. They were making room for reinforcements. First hint something epic was going down? Colonies' massive agricultural domes started opening. Zix'K expected more conventional forces, maybe even bigger domesticated critters. Instead, they watched, bewildered, as a freaking Noah's Ark of farm animals poured out. Lead charge? Creatures humans called longhorns. Massive bovines with horns that'd make even the most aggressive war beast reconsider its life choices. Move in with speed and coordination that was just wrong. Behind them, waves of other farm animals, each more mind-blowing than the last. War beasts, already demoralized by cats and dogs, now facing down angry mother hens protecting their chicks. Zix'K commanders watched in disbelief as their engineered predators got pecked into retreat by birds humans mostly kept for breakfast. But the real masterpiece of human-animal husbandry? Pigs. Turns out pigs weren't just smart, they were stubborn. Like, supernatural stubborn. War beasts discovered, to their dismay, that crystal exoskeletons. No match for creatures that could crush concrete with their snouts looking for truffles. Zix'K Intelligence Division, trying to keep it professional, found themselves documenting scenarios that were just plain absurd. One report. War beasts totally outwitted by a flock of sheep. Sheep, apparently drawing on generations of experience evading predators, led their pursuers into a perfectly executed ambush by a team of retired police dogs. Then came the alpacas. Nobody, not Zix'K, not even humans, was ready for how effective alpacas would be in combat. Woolly creatures, usually known for soft fiber and goofy faces, showed an unexpected talent for psychological warfare. Unblinking stares and eerie calm in the face of danger? So unnerving, several war beasts just turned tail and walked away. Empire behavioral scientists? Disturbed by footage of a war beast trying to intimidate an alpaca with its signature bone-rattling roar. Alpaca responded by spitting in its face, then going back to grotting like nothing happened. War beast, visibly confused, spent the next hour questioning its entire existence. But the real turning point? deploying what humans called their specialized units. Animals working alongside humans in pro roles for generations. Search and rescue dogs, trained to operate in the worst conditions, crazy effective at finding and neutralizing hidden war beast positions. Seamless teamwork with human handlers, high stress experience. Formidable opponents. Therapy animals, especially the little guys like rabbits and guinea pigs. Unexpected complications. Natural calm and comfort. Surprisingly effective at messin' with war beast aggression programming. Encounters endin' with engineered predators more interested in head pats than fightin'? Yeah, Zix'K were watchin' their supreme creations gettin' systematically outperformed by creatures humans just befriended. War beast might have night vision, but couldn't touch the spatial awareness of a bat that evolved with humans for millennia. Creatures designed to kill? Couldn't compete with the problem-solving skills of corvids that learned to navigate human cities. Maybe the most devastating revelation? Humans deploying marine mammals. Dolphins. Natural sonar, complex social intelligence. Crazy effective at disrupting underwater ops. Zix'K had to scrap their aquatic assault plans after war beasts got herded into embarrassing situations by a pod of dolphins treating combat like a game. Empire commanders watched in horror as their invasion plan crumbled before what was basically humanity's extended family. Every attempt to adapt strategy met with some new, improbable combo of domesticated critters working in sync with their human pals. One standout incident. War beasts trying to breach a defensive line, only to get outmaneuvered by agility competition dogs. Dogs, using their obstacle course skills, led the war beasts on a wild goose chase, ending with the engineered predators somehow tangled in their own specialized limbs. Humans, maintaining their casual invasion vibe, overheard talking about how this'd count towards advanced training certificates, and maybe a new competition category, alien threat response. Day wore on, Zix'K forced to face a brutal truth: their whole approach to biowarfare was fundamentally flawed. They focused on perfect predators. Humans. Spent millennia building relationships with creatures already perfectly adapted to their roles. Empire scientists, reviewing combat footage with growing despair, noted Earth animals' effectiveness wasn't just individual skills, but teamwork. With each other, and with humans. War beast might be stronger than a horse, faster than a dog, deadlier than a cat. But couldn't match the coordinated effort of creatures evolved alongside humanity. End of Day 3, Zix'K command structure? Chaos. Reports devolved into desperate attempts to explain how their superior forces were getting dismantled by humanity's household pets and farmyard buddies. Final straw. Surveillance footage of a war beast getting mercilessly harassed by a herd of fain.